Uh-huh. Oh, really? That's quite enlightening there, bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't know I was recording. I didn't know I was live recording. Got my red Solo cup here, man. This cup, I feel like Montez Ford with this goddamn thing. This cup is legitimately filled with all of your tears. Not you per se, but the people on social media. Love it, man. My thirst is so quenched right now for this show that this may be the very best off the script of all time. I know how to ruffle feathers, man. I really do. Anyway. Yes, I know the thumbnail says something different. And oh, JD, I thought you were going to talk about the draft. We're going to talk about the draft. I wish I was having a cold draft at the bar. But here we are talking about the WWE 2019 draft. I don't know why anybody's excited about it. I really don't. They fucked up the first one. They messed up the second one. And the third one, they'll probably make into the biggest embarrassment of all. Anyway, we're going to do things a little bit differently. We're going to talk about the draft in a little bit, but I want to talk about this Ric Flair situation. Ric Flair, if you guys have not been paying attention, Ric Flair is threatening WWE with legal action over the man catchphrase. Now, WWE is right now in the feeling that Ric Flair and this legal action is going to get nasty. It's going to get nasty between WWE side and Ric Flair's legal team. Now, I don't want to be in the middle of a legal argument. I don't want to go to court. I don't want to have to hire a lawyer and take someone to fucking court over something. But I know if I do, I am going right to Franklin and Bash. Remember them? Zach Morris did pretty good coming out of Bayside High. All he was missing was the lovely Kelly Kapowski. That one probably went, whoa, right over your head. Franklin and Bash on TNT. You don't remember? I do. I must be fucking old. Anyway, Ric Flair threatening WWE with legal action over the man catchphrase. Hall of Famer. Probably, in your eyes, the greatest to have ever done this. He's taking WWE to court in the very near future. It was reported last week that WWE and Ric Flair are embarking on a legal journey together. Because Ric Flair had filed to trademark the man. Because nobody else uses the man outside of WWE. This was one of Flair's nicknames when he used to wrestle many years ago and is the current moniker of the Raw Women's Champion right now. And I should say, the man of Seth Rollins' household. I'm blocked anyway. What is he going to do? Huh? What are you going to do, Rollins? Becky Lynch is the man of Seth Rollins' household. TMZ is reporting that Ric Flair, I'm never gonna get unbenched. Anyway. TMZ is reporting that Ric Flair approached WWE about a private agreement where he would get paid royalties by WWE for them to use the man as Becky Lynch's nickname. Now, like I said, this was reported by TMZ. They're also saying that WWE blew him off. Ric Flair tells TMZ Sports he was trying to work out an amicable private agreement with WWE where they would pay him to allow Becky to continue using the man moniker, but WWE blew him off. Now, according to reports, WWE is rather upset at Flair for filing this trademark and are not willing to negotiate with him at this current time. As a result of WWE snubbing him, Ric Flair will reportedly seek legal advice and has threatened his former employers, by the way, the company that his daughter currently works for right now, with legal action if he isn't paid somehow. According to TMZ, the issue has been made this tense between WWE and Ric Flair, but also between Ric Flair and his daughter, Charlotte Flair. TMZ is also reporting that Ric's recent activity and behavior towards WWE has caused a rift between Charlotte Flair and her father. It should be noted that Ric Flair's legal battle with Vince McMahon's company It's not expected to affect Charlotte Flair's position or push on the card in any way, shape, or form. Charlotte will still be treated as one of WWE's top female stars and will be challenging Bayley for the SmackDown Live Women's Championship at the Clash of Champions pay-per-view. Now, WWE believes that this is going to get nasty with Ric Flair. According to sources in WWE, the company is trying to work out a deal with Ric Flair over this entire man situation. Sources have said that there are no hard feelings yet, but some people believe it could get a little nasty because they view Flair as stubborn. Now, Ric Flair wants his money, yes, and how long he's willing to hold out to get something from WWE remains to be seen, but what is the reason for all this? Seriously, what is the reason for all this? I wrote this up just in the last 10 minutes because I find this to be utterly ridiculous. I really do. I don't know how you guys feel about all of this, but this is some of the pettiest shit I've seen in all of pro wrestling this year. What is the reason for this? Like, exactly, why is this happening? I don't even know. I can come up with a multitude of reasons as to why this is happening, but nobody will really know for sure or know what Ric Flair is logically thinking right now with this entire situation. We can only assume and speculate, which is something that we as a community do best. And then we go on social media and have the pro wrestling landscape, the pro wrestlers themselves, come out and say that we're nothing but a bunch of smart marks who don't know anything about the business. We don't know shit. One thing is for sure, though, and I know this for a fact, I know you guys know this as well, WWE hates history. They hate their legacy. They hate their heritage. They do. And I don't care who you are. If you want to tell me I'm wrong, so be it. By what we see on television, I know for a fact that what I just stated is 100% factual information. They do. They'll probably end up in court over this shit instead of doing Flair the favor after all that he's done for the industry and for the WWE. Unless you're one of them through and through. Unless you are a WWE employee, family member through and through, you've never been anywhere else in your entire life, they are against you. They constantly shit all over legacy. They constantly shit all over history. All you need to do is look at their championship titles and see how little they mean to their overall TV product. And that right there is one of the most minimal of examples. How many times did Flair bounce back and forth between WWF and WCW? How many times did he bounce back and forth between WWE and TNA? You don't think Vince McMahon remembers all the time that Ric Flair was there and then he wasn't there and wasn't there? How many times he went to a rival company while Vince was still running his company? You don't think Vince remembers all that? Look at fucking EC3. Look at EC3. Absolutely paying for everything that he thought he was doing right for himself. Now he's back, quote unquote, home. And EC3 is absolutely buried beyond recognition. Christian Cage, the same thing. Christian was nothing more than Edge's sidekick. He went to TNA and he became a world champion. He figured that he made a main event name for himself. He'd come back over to the WWE where he always wanted to be. But he knew that he would never get to where he was in TNA in WWE if he stayed in WWE the majority of his career. So he went to TNA, became a world champion, came back, and they never, ever, ever, ever treated him like he was in TNA. In TNA, he was a big fish in a very small pond. In WWE, he was, I would say, a big fish in a very big pond. But those other bigger fish around Christian Cage, they were all much more liked by WWE management. And for the reasons that Christian went to go better himself, WWE always looks down upon that. EC3, Christian Cage are prime examples. That type of thing does not go away in WWE. If Flair is in dire need of money right now, that he's taking WWE to court over something this petty, I don't know. Is he? Is he in dire need of financials that he's taking WWE to court over something this petty? Who knows? I don't know, Ric Flair. You don't know Ric Flair. We don't know what Ric Flair's got going on in his personal life, in his private life behind closed doors. Nobody knows. Now, let's get Buddy Rogers on the line. Seriously, let's get Buddy Rogers on the line and see if he wants to put in a complaint against Flair for the similarities in his gimmick, which Ric Flair modeled himself off of. How about we get Stone Cold Steve Austin on the line and see if he wants to sue Bill Goldberg over the similarities in attitude and the black trunks that he wore during the Monday Night Wars between Nitro and Raw during the Attitude Era. Does Ric Flair want to sue Bobby Roode or Robert Roode for wearing a robe that closely resembles one of his own? The man is lucky to be alive. Surgeries, doctor visits, and still, after near-death experiences, not once but twice, because of his lifestyle as an active performer, he still goes out there and tries to cheat death like he's starring in Final Destination by having a drink here and there, having a drink over there, over here, and he's still partying like he's 30 years old, when he should look himself in the mirror and say, "Hey, Rick, I'm lucky to be standing here looking you dead in the eyes." Like I mentioned before, WWE has very little care for its history unless Vince McMahon is choosing who he wants in the WWE Hall of Fame gimmick, because that's all it is. Vince McMahon chooses who he wants in the Hall of Fame during WrestleMania weekend, where he needs to celebrate heritage, to sell a fucking ticket during WrestleMania weekend, and to make some extra money to line him and everybody else around him pockets. He only gives a shit about people like Flair when he needs them to trot out there in their wheelchair to pop a rating on a Raw reunion or for some special occasion, because his current product is fucking horrendous and has failed to create anyone, even on the same planet, as close to what Ric Flair was as a pro wrestler. All of this is petty. It is all petty. Flair will take this to court. Flair will lose. It's ridiculous. How many sports athletes use the same phrase during warm-up or during a game itself? Seriously. You could watch esports, you could watch goons playing Call of Duty, and they're saying the same exact thing. No matter where you are, you could be fucking in a cubicle working a 9-to-5 job, closing $1 million deal with your partner in real estate, and you could say that. You're gonna sue him too? The entire phrase was brought to WWE TV to sell the biggest women's match in the company's history, which, by the way, I'm not sure if Ric Flair even remembers, included his own daughter. That was the entirety behind Becky Lynch and Ric Flair's feud. Becky Lynch beats Ric Flair's daughter. Now she's the man. And it only enhanced the storyline, and it only enhanced both women athletes. It was used to get Becky Lynch over and propel Charlotte into the entire program with Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey in the main event of WrestleMania, which, by the way, I'm not sure if you remember, was a first-time ever occurrence and probably will never happen again. At the end of the day, they are merely words. Words! Words that will always be what Ric Flair represented. Every time we utter those words, we're always going to think of Ric Flair first and foremost, not Becky Lynch. If people weren't so goddamn greedy and money hungry, not only the business of wrestling, but the entire world would be a much better place for it. There's something going on besides Ric Flair wanting the man catchphrase to make some extra money. Something is going on with Ric Flair that we don't know, nor is it any of our business. Maybe it's just a situation where he wants to set Charlotte up for the future and he doesn't want anything representing somebody else that's not a part of the Flair legacy. I don't know. Nor, like I said, is it any of our business. But those are my thoughts on this ridiculous Ric Flair story, not storyline, but story. This ridiculous Ric Flair story about him taking WWE and Vince McMahon to court over the man catchphrase. So I know some of you guys wanted my thoughts on that. I figured I'd start the podcast off with that, get it out of the way. Now we got a draft to talk about, but we'll talk about that after the intro. Don't go anywhere, man. We got a lot going on in this episode of Off the Script. We'll hit the intro, and And I'll be right back with your news and rumors this weekend on episode 289.
Hi, I'm AEW champion Chris Jericho. And less than 24 hours after I launched a worldwide investigation to find my missing championship title, it's been returned to me. And it's not because of any law enforcement agency that was too busy with posting pictures on Twitter and then deleting them and then posting them again, or a funny meme or a clever gif. It's because of me. It's because I put the fear of God into the hearts of those who robbed me, who committed grand larceny. I told you I hired the best professional private investigators in the world today. And as a result, I got back the most coveted prize in professional wrestling today. The most coveted prize in the world, period. Worth more than Marcellus Wallace's briefcase. More valuable than Han Solo dipped in carbonite. More critically revered than the Ark of the Covenant. The AEW Championship title is back where it belongs. Over the shoulder of the champion. And as I sit in my palatial estate, in my beautiful mansion, drinking a little bit of the bubbly, I once again demand, and rightfully so, now more than ever, a thank you from the entire AEW fan base, from the entire AEW roster, backstage, front office, in the ring, all across the board, because I did once again exactly what I told you I was going to do. I got this championship back, and I am never, ever letting it out of my sight again. I'm never going to lose it. I'm never going to be robbed of it. You're going to have to pry it out of my cold, dead hands if you want to take this from Chris Jericho ever again. And that's fine. I'm in no rush as I await for all of you to bow down on your knees and thank me. It's good to be Le Champion. Delete! This is mine.
Chris Jericho legitimately can do no wrong. The guy can do no wrong. And everybody was complaining. The funny thing is, everybody was complaining that AEW gave their world championship to a 48-year-old Chris Jericho. Oh, he's too old. If WWE did this, you'd shit all over it, man. Now you see why they gave Chris Jericho the AEW World Championship. Everything the guy touches, legitimately, turns to gold. He can do no wrong. He'll take a catchphrase, make money on it. He'll make it into a meme. He'll make it into a GIF. He'll make it into a goddamn t-shirt. How many of you rushed out to go buy "It's All About the Bubbly" t-shirt? I know, I'm going to buy myself one. I know you guys are going to go buy yourself one. It'll probably be the biggest seller during StarCast 4 in Baltimore when AEW presents Top Gear, or whatever the fuck they're calling it. Gear Out, Top Gear, whatever. New Gear. Sounds like a fucking WWE pay-per-view name. Top Gear. Wasn't that the name of a video game? Top Gear? Gran Turismo? Whatever the fuck they're calling it, man. Jericho is a gem. A gem. And I don't really know how this thing got lost. I don't know how the championship got lost. Now, some of you have your conspiracy theories. I've heard everything from, it was just a mishandling, right? It genuinely got lost. How the fucking title get lost and end up on the side of the highway? I've heard some speculation. It's more of the old lady leaving her bag of groceries on top of the car and then driving away. I've done that before. Everybody's done that. You've put a cup of coffee on the top of the car and you forgot and you drive away. And then the next thing you know, you got coffee all over your back window. You know? It could be one of those situations where the old lady left the carton of eggs on top of her car. Oh my God, Sonny, can you help me get the groceries in the back of the station wagon? Right? And then you're helping her 1, 2, 3, and you put one on top because you're carrying all these bags. And then you're like, don't worry, Bertha, I got you. Get in the car. Can I have $1 tip? You old hag! I just stopped what I was doing to help you put your fucking bags in your husband's station wagon. You can at least tip me. You know? And then you forget one of the bags on top of the car and then forget about it. The old lady gets home and she's got no eggs. She wants to make her husband Howard a nice egg omelet for dinner. You know? And he's over there, what are we having for dinner? You know? And she's like, I'm making you an egg omelet. I don't see any eggs in the refrigerator. Did you go buy the eggs? I bought the eggs. I bought the extra large ones. Where are the fucking eggs? With cheese, you old hag. Could be one of those situations, you know? But either way, I just completely went off. I don't know where I'm going with this. Either way, WWE was laughing and AEW made a negative situation and they turned it into an overwhelmingly positive situation and they had the right guy for it. They had the right guy for it with Chris Jericho. The guy's a gem. Now, the title was found, but apparently it was found by somebody in Tallahassee, Florida, and he put it on Craigslist. Motherfucker. Imagine being on Craigslist and you're like, oh, bro, I had that specifically made. Are you seeking a reward for this title? Could have the AEW title hanging right above Sephiroth over there, man. You know, then people would have looked at me, they would have hunted me down, they probably would have took me to prison, and everybody on social media would have been happy. Yeah, we finally got rid of him. You know? Anyway, this guy on Craigslist, he found Chris Jericho's title, the All Elite Wrestling World Heavyweight Championship. Frank Price of Tallahassee was interviewed by the Tallahassee Democrat and provided details on how he came across the AEW title. Price said he discovered a velvet bag in the middle of a turn lane near Capitol Circle Southwest. He took the bag home and discovered the title. It might really be a situation where, you know, Jericho was taking his bags out. Don't know what he was doing because he was only going to dinner. And something got misplaced. Something must have been left on the side of the road accidentally. Maybe it was left on the top of the limousine. I don't know. And he says this, and I quote, I think I said something like, whoa, it's a huge wrestling championship belt. Check this thing out. And he said, I would never have guessed what it was if I had a lifetime of guesses, meaning he would have never guessed what was in the bag if he had a lifetime of guesses. Now, his wife took to Google to find out more information on the belt and found knockoffs for sale on eBay, of course, because everybody's scummy nowadays. They didn't realize it was an actual title that had been lost or stolen until after he posted it on an ad on Craigslist. I haven't been on Craigslist in God knows how long, man. I remember me and my brother used to go on Craigslist looking for local musicians, you know. So, he says, and I quote, I found a pro wrestling championship belt on Highway 20 Sunday afternoon. His ad states, contact me with details and you can come get it. Price eventually was provided a link to an article indicating the belt was missing and returned it to the Tallahassee Police Department. While he was returning the belt, he bumped into Mike Vaughn, owner of Mike's Limousines, the company that Chris Jericho hired to transport him to Longhorn Steakhouse. Yeah, we gotta change that, bro. Chris Jericho just won the AEW World Championship and he's eating at Longhorn Steakhouse. Now, I'm more of a Ruth Chris type of guy. You know, I don't know if there's a Peter Luger in Tallahassee, I know we got one in Brooklyn, but Longhorn? I mentioned this on the NXT podcast. I feel like when I listen to people mention Longhorn, it's on the lower end of the spectrum steakhouses. Now, if you know your steaks, let me know, man. You prove me wrong. I never had a Longhorn. I never had a Longhorn steak, you know? Capitol Grill, Ruth Chris, whatever the fuck his name is, you know? Peter Luger. But not Longhorn. Not Longhorn. So, Vaughn was planning on filing an insurance claim on the belt and was pleased to hear the belt was found and gave Price a reward of $200. Now, police were suspicious of Price and Vaughn being at the same place and took sworn testimony as well as looked up GPS records to provide Vaughn was nowhere near the Longhorn Steakhouse the day the belt had gone missing. So that is the latest of the AEW World Championship situation. Man, they move fast. They move fast. Now, it could have been, I even speculated that it could have been a publicity stunt by AEW because they got nothing going on between now and TNT. They got 3.5 weeks to fill this void. They want to get people talking. They want to keep people talking. It could have been a big publicity stunt. People could have been paid off left and right by the cons. Who knows? It's not out of the realm of possibility. But whatever had happened here, maybe Vince McMahon should hire the people who figured this case out and hire them for the Roman Reigns situation because I don't think anybody knows, including Vince, who drove the goddamn forklift. Just glad Jericho got his belt back. It's a very beautiful belt. I would not want anything to happen to such a lovely championship. This is Off the Script, episode 289. Thank you guys so much for joining me right here on the podcast. If you missed anything that I previously uploaded right here on the channel, if I could find the link, there you go. There you go. SmackDown Live, Monday Night Raw, the usual. NXT, the usual. Casey Catanzaro quits NXT. Scarlett Bordeaux. The lovely Scarlett Bordeaux. Secret tryout with NXT. How secret was it? Wink, wink. I don't know. We'll find out. Hopefully it's not too secret, because Killer Kross will really live up to the first name that he has in his wrestling name. No question. Bayley turns heel. Or does she? Because she showed up on SmackDown Live and beat up a heel in Charlotte Flair. The ridiculous reason why WWE facilitated the Bayley heel turn and did it on SmackDown before Clash of Champions. We'll talk about that this weekend as well. Also, if you guys are into the video game thing and you've seen this scary-looking individual right here, Man of Medan. If you guys enjoyed my Until Dawn walkthrough, it is very similar. Same people that made it. And we're going to do a walkthrough. So it's fun. If you guys want to see me get scared at several jump scares, there's a few in episode 1. And I'm sure it's going to be happening as well all through the video. So make sure you guys go check all that stuff out, and I would greatly appreciate it. I want to thank Chris Van Vliet again for his hospitality, for allowing me on his channel. It has created quite the stir on social media. For whatever reason, it is what it is, but I am here to thank Chris Van Vliet for the opportunity to sit with him and get my brand out there and help him as well. I definitely have his best interests at heart. He's a great dude, and I can't wait to work with him again in the future. It's going to be awesome. And I left it open. We're definitely going to be sharing some craft beers in the near future for sure. But I want to thank him for allowing me to sit down with him. It was very comfortable, and I'm glad you guys enjoyed the entire interview. And it was definitely a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and I'm glad that he invited me, man. So go check that out. I'm going to leave you guys a link. If you have not seen it, which I hope you have, go check it out. I'm going to leave you guys a link down in the comment section with the Chris Van Vliet interview, sitting down with me, yours truly, on his channel, talking everything NXT, AEW, how I got started, my grandpa, literally everything, man. House of Glory, commentary, what I do to prepare, who my favorite wrestlers are, my favorite match. It's 40 minutes of just me, and I know I could be not everybody's cup of coffee on this channel, on this podcast. I sit here and I try to entertain you the best I can, but what you see on Chris's interview is me. So that's that. Go check it out. I would greatly appreciate it, man. Make sure you guys are following me on social media at JD from NY206. That's on Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. I want to welcome all the new people over from Chris's channel. If you guys were not familiar with me and not familiar with what I do, thank you guys so very much for choosing to hit that subscribe button. Turn on that bell for all notifications as well if you guys have not subscribed yet. It's a great way to ensure that you guys are notified of all my uploads. And if you guys want to support the podcast on Patreon, patreon.com/JD from NY 206. Podcast today is brought to you guys. I know you know who they are. I know who they are. Harry's. Harrys.com/script. Have you guys realized, listen to this, have you guys realized that shaving has been around for over 5,000 years? That's unbelievable. From flint tools to shark teeth to the first copper razor. We always knew that a great shave comes down to the simple, the sharp, and the durable blades. The ancient Greeks didn't need flex balls or heated handles. Neither do you. Who's better than the ancient Greeks, bro? You're not going to listen to an ancient Greek as far as shaving? That's why Harry's doesn't add gimmicky features to their razors. They only focus on the qualities that actually matter for a close, comfortable shave, and they never, ever, ever upcharge you. 10 million people have tried Harry's, and I want you guys to join me and become a part of the 10 million by using our unique link, harrys.com/scripts. JD, what do you love about Harry's? Well, I love the close shave. I love the fact that I glide the blade over my sensitive skin, and I've been using Harry's for about 3 years now. Never have cut myself using a Harry's blade. I love the shave gel. It tingles on my face, and it just smells fantastic, man. That's what I love about Harry's, and the low price is always the cherry on top of the cake. Harry's is a return to the essential, man. Quality, durable blades at a fair price, $2 per blade. To keep prices that low, Harry's cut out the middleman. They own a world-class blade factory in Germany that's been making some of the best razors in the world for nearly a century. Now they can provide you great quality at factory direct prices. Harry's is also a brand that you can be proud of. 1% of sales are donated to organizations that provide access to mental health care for men. And there's no risk for you to try them out. If you don't love your shave, let Harry's know, and they will give you a full refund. JD, what am I going to get? Well, if you use harrys.com/script, you will get the following. A razor handle with a firm grip. 5-blade razor with a lubricating strip and a trimmer blade. Rich lathering shave gel with aloe. Ooh, that sounds good. With aloe to keep your skin hydrated, and a travel blade cover to keep your razor dry and easy on the go. Guys, I don't need to say anything else. harrys.com/script. Get shaving today. Shave better. Use our link, harrys.com/script. So I tweeted out on Wednesday that WWE is having a draft. The 2019 draft is all but confirmed. It was reported by Post Wrestling and John Pollock, and then Pro Wrestling Sheet and that douchebag Ryan Satin reported on it. And then it just started to catch fire. So I could say within good faith that there is going to be a draft this year, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy that the wild card rule is going to die 1,000 deaths. Because I couldn't stand it. I really couldn't stand it. Vince McMahon's a genius. Meanwhile, he made his shows feel worse. And he ruined his show and his rosters worse than he ever did this year with the wild card rule. So I hope that it never comes back again, and good riddance. If you are in favor of the wild card rule, you are a fucking fool. I don't think there's anybody listening to me that is in favor of the wild card rule. Now, the draft, and I mentioned this while I was in Chicago. I mentioned this on Off the Script. There were rumors of a draft. I've been saying this for years that WWE needs to have another draft. No more of these shakeups. You know, I could, where's my bottle cap? Look, I could take this bottle of seltzer, which is empty, by the way. And yes, there is alcohol in here, which is why I'm a little fucking off the handle today. This is a shakeup. This is a shakeup, okay? That's a fucking shakeup. WWE doesn't need shakeups. They need a draft. A legit draft. Because where AEW is going to shine is that they're going to shine through sports direction. They're going to have a sports directive on AEW TV on TNT. WWE needs to do the same thing. And I pray to God that they are planning this meticulously. They are putting talents on brands in which they will flourish and thrive, where they could bring back tag team wrestling, maybe make something out of the women's division. While you're at it, kill 205 Live, move those guys to Raw, and what else do we need? Just give me an overall different feeling of wins and losses mattering, and building your mid-card, making your IC title and your US title mean something. I'm a very simple individual. And if they go about doing these things, things will be good. How many times, I even said it with Chris, how many times have I said, take the NXT model and apply it to Monday Night Raw? You will find that the shows will dramatically get better. What do you mean by that, JD? I want you to elaborate. You don't script your commentators. You don't feed them bullshit where we are just nauseous in the stomach by listening to them, where they don't sound organic and natural, you know? They don't sound natural. I never get that feeling with Nigel, with Morrow, with Beth Phoenix. I think Beth Phoenix does a splendid job at commentary, much better than Renee Young. Championships mean something. Champions don't lose. There was one instance in which the Velveteen Dream got pinned by Roderick Strong in a 6-man tag. Then the 6-man tag led to Roddy versus Velveteen Dream, and then William Regal brought out Pete Dunne for TakeOver. So that was that. In that instance, I don't mind it because NXT doesn't do that all that often, if not ever. They don't do that. Adam Cole went one-on-one with Jordan Miles on NXT TV. He looked strong. He won the match in a very predictable manner, but he won the match. And you know what? He won it clean. And he made himself look good. And he put Jordan Miles over in the same match. Everything just worked out. Perfect marriage of everything. You know? I want championships to mean something. I want wins and losses to mean something. Jordan Miles won a tournament. He won a tournament. Breakout tournament. Got a contract. Cashed it in on the World Championship. Wins and losses mean something. You know? Wins and losses matter to everybody. Breezango's on a hot streak. They beat the Forgotten Sons. They beat these two bums on NXT Wednesday. They're eventually going to be next in line because they're the next notable team in that division to challenge for the tag team titles, but they're winning matches. They're not going to be given a tag team title match just because they're, you know, Tyler Breeze and Fandango. Wins and losses matter. You take the NXT model and the way that they approach things. Don't overexpose. You know? Fucking level out your pay-per-views to be 3 hours, 3.5 hours. They did it right with SummerSlam. There's no excuse. SummerSlam ended at 10:30, probably before that. That is fine. 3 hours, 3.5 hours, I'm good with. We don't need 6 hours. One of the takeaways that I got from All Out, it was too long. 5 hours is unnecessary. So when people ask me to elaborate, JD, what do you mean you want to take the NXT model and you apply it to Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live? Everything matters. From wins and losses to championships. The North American Championship in comparison to the IC title and the US title, there's no comparison. There's no comparison. The NXT title looks so much better than the Universal and the WWE Championship combined. That's what I mean. Everything needs to matter. Weekly television, what happens on weekly television needs to matter 2 or 3 weeks from that original air date. I want you to go back and tell me what happened. People look at championships and they get a title shot on Monday Night Raw. That's not the way it goes. AJ Styles made fun of that in his promo on Monday. What did Braun Strowman do to get a title shot? Nothing! Absolutely nothing. AJ, which is WWE mocking their audience, AJ said, what did Braun Strowman do? He looked at it and got a championship. That's it. Is that what I gotta do to get a championship around here? What about my guys? Can they look at the tag team titles and get a title shot? Give me a break. This is the legit facts, folks. WWE's mocking you, but they're also telling you in the same breath what exactly is wrong with the show, and then they don't go and do anything to fix it. I want you to open your eyes. Seriously. A draft needs to happen. Who goes where and how they operate things remains to be seen. Is NXT going to be involved? That remains to be seen. I don't have any faith in WWE, and I'm sure you don't either. One of the questions Chris asked was, will you lead with negativity? Of course I do. Of course I do. Because 98% of the time, what we get during the week is negative. 98% of the time, what we get during the week doesn't make sense. Why would I attack that as positive? Why? Of course I'm going to attack it with negative. And you know what? I am damn proud I attack everything with negativity because WWE treats us like infantile children. So I'm going to treat them with bullshit and negativity right from the jump. You have to work at making me say anything positive. For the idiots on social media who want to be, oh, Chris really grilled him with the negative comment. No, I am damn proud of leading with negativity because all we get is negativity. Do you see me negative on Wednesdays? Hardly. Almost never. It's not the same on Monday and Tuesday. I'll gladly lead with negativity because all we get is that in return. Now, I have to say, I am excited about it, even though I am 100% skeptical. I am very excited about the draft because what it means is we are getting separate rosters. We are getting 2 rosters with 2 identities. That means the WWE Champion is going to be on one brand. The Universal Champion is going to be on one brand. And it bleeds down to the US and the IC and the Women's Championship, which I took a look at. I wrote all this shit down. I tried to make a mock draft of who I would put where, and it's not working. It's not really working. WWE could do one of 2 things. One, they could really start building tag team wrestling and separate their tag teams and give each brand their own division. Or they could really have the tag team titles for the men rotate like they do the women. And I would not think that's a bad idea. WWE doesn't have a lot of teams that you could really look at and say, you know what? They're really worth something. They got a lot of garbage teams. Now, I separated them into 2 tag teams here. Or 2 separate categories, heels and faces. These are the teams that are, I would say, are on television and will be on television moving into the new Fox deal on Fox Sports. The OC, you got Gallows and Anderson. You got Sheamus, I heard he's rumored to be coming back, and Cesaro. You got the Revival, Dash and Dawson. You got the Usos. You got the Hardys. Jeff is coming back. Jeff is coming back. In November, I heard. So you got the Hardys. They're not going to go do anything delete with Matt Hardy. They're not going to the woken, broken shit with Matt Hardy. He's going to be a Hardy boy. He's going to be back with Jeff. So you got them to look forward to. Heavy Machinery, The New Day, The Street Profits. I'm putting The Street Profits here instead of on NXT television because they're on Monday Night Raw more so than they are on NXT. So I put them here. So if you have these heels and faces separated, that's 8 teams. And if WWE wants to venture off and really split them into heels and baby faces and really get rid of one championship and have one Universal Tag Team Championship between both brands, just like they do the women, they could definitely make it work. Now, the other teams that I have on the roster that aren't being used right now, you got Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. Nobody gives a shit about them. Lindsay Dorado, Grand Metalik, and Kalisto. Nobody gives a shit about them. Is that a legit tag team? Nobody's going to buy into the Lucha House Party because you haven't sold us on the Lucha House Party. You got the War Raiders. You haven't done anything with them. I want to put them on the main roster, but then at the same time, I don't. Then I'm thinking the NXT Tag Team division really needs some help as well. Because if you look at the NXT Tag Team division, all they have is the Undisputed Era. They have Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. They have Breezango, and they have the Forgotten Sons. That's 4 tag teams. If you're moving the Street Profits to Monday Night Raw, you're leaving NXT without the Street Profits, and you're leaving the NXT Tag Team division with only 4 teams. So if you want to make a Universal Tag Team Championship for Raw and SmackDown, and you want to have the Men's Tag Team Championships do the same thing as the Women's Tag Team Championship, a division of the OC, the Bar, the Revival, and the Usos as heel tag teams. And I put the Usos in the heel tag team because they are garbage as baby faces. Get back. I don't give a shit what symbolism there is there with the DUIs. Get them back to being the Uso penitentiary like Usos that we've seen. You don't necessarily need to dive into the Uso penitentiary gimmick, but give me them as a heel act. Hardys, Heavy Machinery, The New Day, and the Street Profits would make up the babyface side of things. 8 tag teams spread across both shows, giving both shows a little bit of each team and what they have to offer. I think it's a great idea. So what do you do with the NXT tag team division? Obviously, you're going to have to add more teams. Undisputed Era, Oni, Lorcan, Danny Burch are still down there, even though Lorcan is operating on 205 Live. You got Breezango. You got the Forgotten Sons. You move the War Raiders back down to NXT. You move the Authors of Pain back down to NXT. And you move the Ascension back down to NXT. I think that would make a great tag team division. Spread the wealth. You ain't using these teams on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live. Spread the fucking wealth. So not only are you making the tag team division a little bit more, I would say, easy flowing on the main roster, but you're also adding teams that you're not currently using, nor do you have a desire to use on the main roster back down to NXT. So you're covering yourself as far as weaknesses go in NXT, and you're making everything a little bit more easier to follow on the main roster. They could do that if they wanted. Clearly, I did it. There's no excuse for them not to do the same thing with their fucking iPads, which I did in 20 minutes. So there's no excuse on any of that. Now, I don't think they're going to do any of this, and everybody that I mentioned is going to waste away until their contracts are up, and then WWE is going to expect them to sign, and when they see the War Raiders go over to AEW, then they'll be wondering, what happened? We offered them 5 times more money they were making. It's not about the money. Tony Khan's got just as much money, if not more, than WWE in total. You don't need WWE's money, because at least you'll be getting paid over there, and you'll be amongst the elites. Because right now, their tag team division is elite. How are their tag team? This is a serious question that I pose to everybody. Everybody's like, oh, JD, it's not going to work your way. AEW's got one show. They're not split into 2 separate brands. One show at 2 hours every single week. Look at the tag teams they have over there. Look at the tag. They got, 8 or 9 tag teams? Legit tag teams? You think you're going to be seeing those tag teams every single week? No, it's going to be a revolving door of talent. It's going to be a revolving door of talent. One week you'll see Private Party versus the Dark Order. The next week you'll see the Best Friends versus fucking Jurassic Express. One week you'll see the Lucha Brothers versus LAX. The next week you'll see LAX versus the Dark Order. You're not going to be working these guys to the bone every single week. Overexposure is a killer. They know not to overexpose. Plus, they don't have the room to. Otherwise, it would be a whole show of tag team wrestling, which I wouldn't mind. But you guys get my point. This could work. I don't think WWE is going to do this, and they'll go and do the worst thing possible. But that's my vision for the tag team division. And it works. It could certainly work. Now, the women's division is a little bit more convoluted. There are 24 total women on WWE's main roster, some of which are not used, some of which I would absolutely, just looking at them, I would fire on the spot. That's just the way I operate. 24 women. So my idea of having them float back and forth is not really going to work here. I honestly think we're going to need to keep the Raw and SmackDown titles separate, and we go about doing it that way. Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Ronda Rousey, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, Alexa Bliss, Dana Brooke, Lacey Evans, Naomi, Natalya, Nia Jax, who's hurt. She's not back until 2020. Nikki Cross, Ruby Riott, who's also injured, not back until 2020. Sarah Logan, Asuka, Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, Carmella, Charlotte, Ember Moon, Kairi Sane, Liv Morgan, who's on her way back with a new gimmick. Mickie James, I'm not counting these women, but they're overall in the total amount. Zelina Vega, because she's with Andrade. I would rather her do that managerial role than actually wrestle. Lana, waste of time. Alicia Fox, drunk. Tamina, garbage. Maria Kanellis, a waste of payroll. So there you go. That's a lot of women on the main roster. About 40% of those women you don't even use. So if you take out the 40% that you don't use and you delegate them to main event and superstars, what you got could possibly work as an overall division for two brands, or if you want to float them back and forth, you could probably do so well. How you organize who goes where, I don't know. I'm not in the business to do that. It's giving me a headache just looking at that many women on the main roster. The NXT women, and if I could be very fair with you, NXT doesn't need to be in the draft as far as women go. They got more than enough women to compensate for what they have going on Wednesdays at 2 hours. Aaliyah, Bianca Belair, Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, who is back from injury, who is awesome, Deonna Purrazzo, who we haven't seen, Io Shirai, Mia Yim, Shayna Baszler, who I guess it depends on how you feel, could stay in NXT, or you could call her up to the main roster. I would rather her stay in NXT. Tainara, formerly Tainara Conchi, they shortened her name to Tainara. Vanessa Bourne, Xia Li, who's out, and then they just signed Santana Garrett. And WWE has NXT UK at their disposal, which makes me think Toni Storm lost the championship. She could be on her way to NXT. We could see Toni Storm on the USA Network. They got Piper Niven on NXT UK. They got Rhea Ripley on NXT UK. Kaylee Ray, you know? They got Ginny. There's a ton of women that they could use. And instead of bringing main roster talent down to NXT, I would rather WWE focus on getting those women on the USA Network to get them the spotlight that they need, because they need it. The main roster doesn't. Because they got 5 hours just by themselves on Monday and soon to be Friday. So we don't need that. So I don't know how you want to go about all this. WWE, at the end of the day, you know, you can have fun with it. I doubt they're going to have fun with it. They're going to make it just headache-inducing at the end of the fucking draft, I'm sure. But at the end of the day, both of these rosters, both of these brands need separate entities. They need to feel different. They do not and should not have anything, absolutely nothing to do with each other. They need to be distant fucking cousins. You know, the type of fucking family member that you call on Christmas and they don't answer you because they don't want to fucking know you exist. That type of fucking family member. That's what Raw and SmackDown need to be. And that's the only way they're going to ensure success. Because I would even go out there. I know they're not going to do it because WWE needs to sell subscriptions. I would even go out there on a limb and say WWE could even revert back to the fucking brand exclusive pay-per-views if they want to, because they have more than enough talent to fill a SmackDown only show. It's your job to make those characters matter for the paying audience, which they always fail to do. That's why it failed in the first place, because they don't know how to push their talent. Now, the WWE Draft is returning. SmackDown is getting it first on Fox. This is October 11th. It will, I guess, continue on in the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and then Raw will get their draft on Monday. So it's going to be a whole weekend thing. With SmackDown moving to Fox, WWE reportedly wants both brands to feel like separate entities, and the wild card rule will be ending. Dave Meltzer spoke in the latest Wrestling Observer Radio about the draft and said the large-scale changes that we expect should not be expected. Meltzer says that the rosters that were made after the shakeup following WrestleMania 35 will largely remain the same. And I don't really mind that. Maybe a minor move here and there, a new face to a new show here and there. That's fine. You don't even need to do anything. At the end of the day, it's about making the talent stand out and feel important. You've done so much damage to bury so much talent that I honestly think it's too little too late to even get them back in the spotlight to feel special in any way, shape, or form. They have more than enough on these shows to really make these shows feel fresh. And I don't mean by pairing Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler together on a fucking whim. You don't need that. Bobby Roode should be on his own. He should be NXT version Bobby Roode, and he should be a major heel on Monday Night Raw, feuding with Seth Rollins over the Universal Championship. That's the type of heel Bobby Roode should be, because he did it in NXT. There's no reason why he should not do it on Monday Night Raw. I don't understand it. Look at the mid-card that SmackDown has. Are you kidding me? That's a promotion's wet dream. SmackDown Live, Buddy Murphy, Ali, Aleister Black, Shinsuke Nakamura, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens. You fucking kidding me? Look at the mid-card on Monday Night Raw. Cedric Alexander. You got Finn Balor on SmackDown Live, too. I forgot about him. He's coming back. Andrade. Drew McIntyre. Cedric Alexander. Baron Corbin, if they want to make him likable in some way, shape, or form. Chad Gable on SmackDown. They got more than enough. Bobby Roode. EC3. You got more than enough talent here. It's up to you to make them feel special. And WWE doesn't want to make them feel special for whatever reason. And this is what has led to their ultimate failure as far as quality of TV goes. These shows need separate identities, and it's all on them to make it feel special. Will they do it? I doubt it. They had one draft, it failed. Second draft, failed outside of SmackDown Live. SmackDown Live at the end of 2016 was brilliant television. Then Jinder Mahal became the WWE champion, and the show was completely blown up. Complete garbage. That's what they need to do. Ultimately, it failed. Will the third draft fail? Probably. Because they never go all the way with these things. Fox wants the draft. WWE's not in a lifetime commitment with Fox. It's 5 years. What happens after the 5 years? What happens when WWE wants to become defiant? And they want to do their own thing and they're tired of listening to Fox. You think the draft is going to remain a thing? You think separate rosters is going to be a thing? Wildcard Rule will probably be back and running wild on WWE television. Because God forbid Roman Reigns is not on Monday Night Raw. Dave Meltzer says, and I quote, "The idea is that the talent lineup they did in the last draft, or shakeup, is kind of going to be the talent lineup. But there is going to be minimal change." That's what he says. He goes on to say, they may include NXT, but the changes are going to be made with another draft. So, changes meaning from NXT, it's going to happen in the draft. NXT is going to be a part of the draft. It's exciting, and I hope WWE has plans for it. I hope they make it feel special. I hope they make it really feel like an NBA or an MLB or an NFL draft. I want people out there that represent the brands, whether it's Stephanie or Shane or Vince himself, Triple H. I want them out there making picks, have the draft picks matter. How are you going to get the draft pick? Is there going to be a coin toss? You know? Maybe they have a match over who picks first. You know, on SmackDown Live, it doesn't mean that SmackDown's getting the first pick because it's on their show. Get there by some reason. Have fun with it. Have a match. Whoever wins this match gets the first pick. Could be against anybody. Could be two mid-card guys. And whoever is winning that match, depending on what brand they are, they get the first draft pick. Have that be your coin toss. It's easy. Have fun with it. WWE doesn't know how to have any fun. They're uncool. They're uncool. They're the uncool father in pro wrestling. They're the fanny pack wearing, sweatpants wearing fucking goon who doesn't know how to have any fun. You know, penny pinching everywhere. Oh, you can't buy that. You know, I told you to order from the kids' meal. You know, you can't get the fries with that. You got to go with the apple slices. You know, he's the uncool father. My kid wants fucking French fries. I'm going to get him French fries as long as they're organic. It's good. As long as they're organic. And they're fried in peanut oil and not that fucking garbage that's used at Burger King and McDonald's. Clown. Whoever's feeding your kid McDonald's, if you're feeding your kid McDonald's, man, listen, I'm not going to tell you how to parent, but please, there are better choices out there. Anyway, not here to talk about food. Let's talk about changes, not to your kid's diet, but changes to the writing team. Quick little story here. The Wrap is reporting that Michael P.S. Hayes walked in on a new writer named Stevie Long. Sounds like a fucking porn star. Is he starring next to Johnny Sins? Give me a break. Stevie Long. And he was asleep in the writer's room during his first day with the company. Now, it didn't say what brand he was writing for. I could only assume it was Monday Night Raw, because I'm sure Stevie Long took one glance at Monday Night Raw and knocked the fuck out. Seriously. Or maybe he was so nervous that he drank himself into oblivion, knowing that he had to come into work and his boss was named Vincent Kennedy McMahon. The insider cited Bischoff's decision to hire Stevie Long. So Bischoff hired this guy, a former Sons of Anarchy writer, who was sound asleep in the writer's room and found by longtime producer Michael P.S. Hayes on his first day on the road with WWE. Long is still with the WWE. Eric Bischoff declined to comment on this story, and Long is still employed by WWE, but that is not a good look. I seen some idiot quote tweet on social media, well, he was tired. What's wrong with that? Yes, idiot. Go show up to work and fall asleep at your fucking desk while your boss is browsing around to see if everybody's doing their job. Let me see if he doesn't say anything to you, you fucking mongoloid. Bunch of idiots. He fell asleep. Can you blame him? It's probably for Raw. He was hired by Bischoff for Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw, I'm assuming not Eric Bischoff, but P.S. Hayes is he on SmackDown? I don't even know anymore. Sounds like he would be on Monday Night Raw. So, Monday Night Raw writer, we'll just go along with that. Stevie Long falls asleep. Not surprised by that whatsoever. But the writing team is undergoing changes already ahead of the draft. Now, this is according to Meltzer and the newsletter. It's being reported that Ryan Ward has left his position as lead writer of SmackDown Live. Pro Wrestling Sheet and that douche, Ryan Satin, has added that Ward is taking some time away from the company due to unspecified reasons. I have the unspecified reason, folks. Now, Ward took a leave of absence from his role on SmackDown Live, but Mike Johnson of PW Insider is reporting that due to the fact that Ryan Ward took a leave of absence, it was all for him getting married. Apparently, the fact that Vince McMahon seems to be tearing up SmackDown scripts on a weekly basis didn't play into this decision to step away from his post on the Blue Brand. And SmackDown Live is Ryan Ward's home. He's been there with Road Dogg. Ryan Ward wrote the brilliance that was SmackDown Live in 2016 after that inaugural draft. Go back and watch that SmackDown Live era, man. That was good shit. And he was promoted right before he took that position from NXT. So he was the one writing NXT in 2016 and before that. So you know he's good shit. So Ryan Ward took a leave of absence from the company after getting married. Mike Johnson can confirm. Ward's leave officially began on Wednesday. This comes after it was reported that Ward was possibly very unhappy with Vince McMahon. I don't see why he would be happy with him. In recent months, Vince has allegedly ripped up the entire SmackDown script and rewritten the show himself on numerous occasions, once while he wasn't even there, via Skype. Yes, because this is great. This is the way a company operates as far as a creative writing capacity, right? I have guys who I'm paying to get me a script, and I'm saying, fuck it, rip it up. I'm not even there. I'm going to rewrite the show and tell you what I want via Skype because I don't have enough to fucking even come on in to do it myself. Now, this comes after the report where it said Ward was unhappy with Vince McMahon. He's away getting married. And Ward, in his absence, will be replaced by current Raw writer Ed Koskey, where reportedly Koskey will work with Bischoff. So he's going to be working closely with Eric Bischoff on SmackDown Live. That's going to be the team, the heads of creative on SmackDown Live. As of this, possibly next week, Ed Koskey and Eric Bischoff. And former 205 Live lead writer Jonathan Backstrom will be moving over to Raw with Paul Heyman. Now, this comes after it was reported that Steve Guerreri was released by WWE in July. He was the former SmackDown lead writer. The changes are believed to have been made ahead of SmackDown's move to Fox in October. Dave Meltzer explained WWE's reasoning for the upcoming draft during the Wrestling Observer Live. He also revealed that there is currently a running joke backstage in regards to Eric Bischoff and how little he knows about the current product. He says, and I quote, "That's the plan right now. Yeah, it is to do the draft so they can reshuffle the rosters. Paul Heyman can get a few of his guys he wants. Bischoff, if he knows who the people are on, if he knows who the people on the roster are, he may figure out who he wants. It's been one of the running jokes that Bischoff doesn't even know who the talent is yet, but there you go. End quote. I don't understand why that's a running joke. Eric Bischoff has said for years that he doesn't watch the show. So why are you zinging him and making fun of him if he doesn't know who the roster members are, the men and women are on the roster? He doesn't watch the show. And at that point, can you even blame him for not watching the show? It's insufferable. It's insufferable. Yes, he's out of wrestling. You lured him out of Wyoming to move to Stamford to do whatever you got to do for SmackDown Live. And all these years he was away from the business. Why would he watch? Why would he watch? It is very easy for one to become disenchanted with what WWE is doing. I don't blame Bischoff whatsoever. So Ryan Ward is, I'm sure, not coming back. Because why would he? Why would he? Same thing happened to Road Dogg. Yes, he got married. God bless him. I'm very happy for him. I wish him a lifetime of happiness. Road Dogg took a sabbatical. There was no idea of what happened to Road Dogg. He was taking time off. He needed a break, right? He needed a break. He's getting married, what Ryan Ward is. He's getting married. Of all the weekends where changes are being made, he's getting married this weekend. Same with Road Dogg. He took a sabbatical. Where did Road Dogg end up? Back down in NXT. Where NXT is expanding to 2 hours, don't you think they're going to need a little bit more hand power down in NXT as far as a creative writing standpoint? Ryan Ward, I'm sure, would be very pleased to know that when he comes back to the WWE, that Triple H is awaiting him with open arms. Because his position on SmackDown Live is certainly not going to be awaiting him, and I guarantee you, he is perfectly okay with that. WWE is moving Ed Koskey from Raw to SmackDown Live. You think that Vince McMahon is going to move one of his fucking guys out of a position that he just put him in, which is the head writer of SmackDown Live, and move him back to do whatever on Raw for Ryan Ward? The answer is no. The answer is no. Vince McMahon shuffled the cards. He moved these guys in places to get them ready. They're there for a reason, and they're there for the long term. Ryan Ward's position on SmackDown Live is not waiting for him. Where he has a position, I hope he still has a position. I hope it's not a situation where he's fired for whatever reason, because it's totally not his fault. And you can see why Steve Guerri, whatever the fuck his name is, was fired. He was released by WWE in July. He was a former lead writer for SmackDown Live. He probably got caught yelling at somebody, yelling at Dave Kapoor, yelling at Ed Koskey, yelling at Vince, yelling at somebody at the creative desk that this is bullshit. That this is bullshit. Ripping up scripts, rewrite after rewrite after rewrite, writing the show as the show is still going on into the 9 o'clock hour. How much of that do you think these guys can take? They can't. They can't. And some of you actually notified me of job inquiries on WWEcareers.com. Do you want to kill me? Seriously, I would never take a creative writing position with the WWE because I wouldn't want to quit after 2 weeks. That's 2 weeks of sleepless nights, I'm sure. Ryan Ward doesn't have a position waiting for him. There's no way. No way Vince is moving Ed Koskey out of a lead writer position on one of his main brands for Ryan fucking Ward. It's over. I wish him the best, and hopefully NXT does have a instance where they need somebody, and Ryan Ward is right there, ready, willing, and able to fill that void. Because going at 2 hours, I think they can need all the creative writing they could get. Guys, we're going to take a little bit of a break. Got to talk about Audible. My good peeps over at Audible, audibletrial.com/offthescript. Make sure you guys go and get your 30 days free. Yes, you guys are getting something for free. I'm giving you something for free just for listening to me rant and bitch and yell and complain. audibletrial.com/offthescript. 30 days free of their service. And one free audio book of your choice, compatible with iPhone and Android devices. It's completely free. And it's a great way to support the show, man. audibletrial.com/offthescript. Get your 30 days. Get your audio book today. 200,000 choices to choose from. Great way to support Off the Script. Gonna switch gears for a little bit, man. I came across this story last night, and it kind of angered me. And then I realized what I was reading, and I realized that I'm not surprised in any way, shape, or form that it was Impact Wrestling acting very douche-like to Killer Kross. Now, I think Killer Kross is a good enough talent where he doesn't need Impact Wrestling. He goes to NXT, I guarantee you, they overnight him and they turn him into a fucking megastar. He's stuck with Impact Wrestling. He didn't know what his worth was, and he got stuck into a deal with Impact, and his girlfriend is now free. They actually let her go. Scarlett Bordeaux had a secret tryout at the Performance Center. Now, Killer Kross is dealing with bullshit from Impact Wrestling. None more so than this one. Impact Wrestling and Killer Kross are at odds because he refused to blade in a match on pay-per-view against Eddie Edwards. Are you fucking serious? The first blood match that they last had on pay-per-view. What was it, Slammiversary? He refused to blade in a match against Eddie Edwards in a first blood match. Now, Kross was in the headlines earlier this year when he and his girlfriend, Scarlett Bordeaux, both asked for their release from the company. While Bordeaux's release was granted, Kross was not granted his release, and he sat in limbo through most of the summer. In noticing that Kross hasn't been booked to wrestle for Impact Wrestling since Slammiversary, Fightful and Sean Ross Sapp sent an inquiry to the company for clarity on his status. Tuesday, Bill Pritchard of WrestleZone issued a report that Fightful was able to confirm, noting that Kross refused to blade during his Slammiversary match with Eddie Edwards in July. The concerns raised were lack of blood testing and the absence of an on-site doctor that made talent feel unsafe about the request. Word is that Kross had no problem losing, but preferred to use fake blood given the circumstances of the first blood match and the circumstances in which they wanted him to legitimately cut himself open to blade and bleed to make it look a little bit more believable, I'm assuming. The story ended up tying together with another when Fightful reached out to several employees and wrestlers about the news that Impact would be paying for hotels. In asking around, many wrestlers claimed that they have not been paid in full for their merchandise. We should clarify this wasn't across the board, but we're told that this is a point of contention between Impact and Kross right now, and Impact contracts are structured to include a non-disparagement clause and provisions to prevent talent from speaking on what the deals entail. When speaking with an employee of Impact Wrestling, they noted that Kross has been speaking with the company via an attorney for several weeks and believes that Impact has been in breach of his contract. Impact still reportedly has several months on the deal and the option to roll it over, though the amount of time was not determined at this point. This could also end up affecting Kross's AAA bookings. AAA has a show on September 15th in just a couple of weeks and is actually gaining the help of Impact to promote the event. An Impact worker revealed to Fightful. Impact and Ed Nordholm, who, when I met Ed Nordholm at the House of Glory Impact show, Code Red, he was much more approachable than Don Callis and Josh Matthews. I actually preferred to talk to Ed Nordholm in regards to me being on the show than anything. Now, to end speculation and the Twitter bullshit that I still see, people think that Impact gave me a job. Impact didn't give me a job, you fucking cretins. They didn't give me a job. Impact came into House of Glory's venue to run a show at our venue. A show to use our talent on. I work for House of Glory. Why wouldn't I be on the show to at least help Josh Matthews go over the storylines going into that with our talent and go over what our champions mean and the storylines that they're engaged in and who the champions are and what they got coming up? Why wouldn't I be on the show? How that happened? I talked to Ed Nordholm. He made it happen. Simple. I don't work for Impact, nor do I want to work for Impact. Not after this fucking story. Give me a break. I work for House of Glory. I was on their show because they were in our venue using our talent. Think. Use the little fucking pea for brains that you got up there rolling around and use it. It's somewhat still usable. So AAA, he is taking AAA bookings September 15th. Impact is promoting the show. Impact and Ed Nordholm specifically are said to be allowing AAA to use their promoter's license and several other avenues, and implied to the company that they prefer Killer Kross to not be on those shows. Oh, really? Really now? Kross has worked dozens of dates for AAA over the last several years, most recently in August's Triple Mania show. Fightful has reached out to Impact Wrestling in an official capacity on Killer Kross' status. The story about him refusing to blade amongst other aspects, and they have not heard back at all from Impact Wrestling. This is an absolute scummy move. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Killer Kross is such a bad guy. He wants a medical fucking doctor on the field. He wants a medical physician backstage, which there was none. God forbid somebody in the company wanted to go about doing his job with a smile. But at least if I'm going to do my job with a smile, please protect me. Please protect me while I take a fucking foreign object and cut my fucking flesh. Are you kidding me? So you know what this means now, right? You know what this means now, right? The fact that he actually went to WrestleZone and he spoke about the company and the deal, and he spoke about him and Scarlett, spoke about them two and the contracts that they had, and he kind of, I didn't really listen to it, but I read transcripts of it. I wouldn't say he threw them under the bus, but he was openly talking about his contract situation when he had already signed a contract with Impact Wrestling. I don't think you're supposed to do that. So stemming from that he went to WrestleZone to talk about this and vent that he was openly unhappy about everything. Impact is now taking this, blading incident, the fact that he didn't want to blade, and they're downright purposely punishing him when all the guy wants to do is wrestle. You do them dirty, in every instance, Impact is going to do you dirty that much harder. And that sucks. Because the guy wants to get out there, he wants to show the world who he is, and he wants to get his talent across to hopeful new eyes. He can't do that on AAA show now, September 15th. He can't do that. Why can't he do that? Because Impact won't allow him to do that. Why? Because Impact are being a bunch of dirty cunts. That's why. This is Impact Wrestling, folks. You all thought Impact Wrestling was turning over a new leaf. They may have the best women's division. I said this on Van Vliet's channel. They may have the best women's division in all of pro wrestling with Emma, Tenille Dashwood, Jordan Grace, Tessa Blanchard, Taya, Havoc, Rosemary, Sue Young, right? They might have the best women's division in all of wrestling. But that doesn't excuse them for being a bunch of pricks. They might have one of the best rosters, underrated rosters in all of pro wrestling right now, from top to bottom. But that does not give them the option of being dirty pricks. Why would anybody want to work for this company knowing that they had their second biggest show of the year without a medical physician on site, and then they wanted somebody to go out there and fucking blade himself with God knows what diseases he could have caught if something happened? You are not in that area to tell him what he has to do when you aren't even following the fucking rules. What a shitty situation. How could you not side with Killer Kross on this? Now they're doing him dirty because he went on WrestleZone and he didn't want to do this blade job with Eddie Edwards. Now they're fucking him. They haven't used him since the Eddie Edwards match. They're lost. You got one of your top guys, one of your key players, and you're not using him because of pettiness. So what does that say about you? You value talent? I don't think you do. I think if it was anybody else, you would have did the same fucking thing, not just Killer Cross. This guy needs to get out of there. This guy needs to get out of there. And I tell you, when he's out of there and he becomes fucking 20 times a bigger star than he was in Impact Wrestling, then they're going to fucking be like, what happened? What happened? Oh, it's not our fault. Watch him go to NXT and this guy dominate on the USA Network. Give me a break. Impact Wrestling should be goddamn ashamed of themselves. I don't know anybody who would want to go work for Impact Wrestling. We are above Impact Wrestling. We draw more viewers on this fucking podcast than Impact Wrestling draws weekly on Twitch and on Pursuit combined. So when people go on social media and say, oh, I'm not watching Impact Wrestling because they hired JD, they would actually gain viewership because I was fucking employed by them. You'd be doing them a fucking negative if you didn't watch, because they don't have anybody watching right now anyway. I hope he leaves, and I hope she gets signed to WWE. Guys, I don't want to go too long here. I want to talk about this Roman Reigns situation. Save the rest for part 2. I got some gems and some doobies ready for part 2. Doobies? Is that a word? Doobies? Dupes? I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Doobies, like I'm smoking a joint. No, I got some gems lined up for part 2. Roman Reigns. I don't know, man. It's this fucking vodka and club soda that I got sitting over here. Roman Reigns. We got possible plans. Of course, Vince's plans, possible plans. Of course, they're going to fucking change. Possible plans to switch Roman Reigns and his Clash of Champions match. Of course. Dave Meltzer said on Wrestling Observer Radio that he actually asked if Daniel Bryan will take Rowan's spot at Clash of Champions. Right now, that doesn't seem to be the case, but in the end, Vince McMahon is the only person who really knows what's going on. So, I pair this with Brian Alvarez, who talked about this on the Observer Live. Listen to this doozy. That's the word I was looking for. Doozy. Doobies. Yeah, roll me a doobie. Look at this doozy. Brian Alvarez noted on Wrestling Observer Live that fans aren't the only people who don't know what is happening with the Roman Reigns Daniel Bryan murder mystery. Vince McMahon isn't telling anyone backstage in WWE either, as he comes in each week and tears up the script to go in a totally unknown direction. Yes, some fucking value Vince McMahon has in his writing staff. Brian Alvarez says this, and I quote, Vince, I guess, either came up with the idea of Roman Reigns versus Rowan first, or that's actually not what they're doing at the pay-per-view. This is absolutely true. Nobody on SmackDown Live has any idea what is going on with this storyline. Nobody who is responsible for putting this show together, they have no idea where this is going. They don't know if it's going to be Daniel Bryan versus Roman. They don't know if it's going to be Rowan versus Roman Reigns. Nobody knows, because the only one who knows right now is Vince McMahon, and he's been tearing up the script every single week and writing a new one, and this is where we are right now. This is where we are right now. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous to even sit here and read out of Brian Alvarez's mouth. Now, you couple that with this story. The Wrap reports that the current storyline between Roman Reigns and the whodunit, Reggie, the murder mystery situation, it's gotten out of hand. This has gotten to a point where one insider said that if they were to explain exactly what the initial plans were, that nothing would make sense, not one bit. According to the WWE Insider, Wrap says, the storyline was botched so badly that explaining to anyone what it's supposed to be wouldn't make any sense at all. End quote. Awesome, folks. It's awesome to work for WWE when you have this type of bullshit going on. So Dave Meltzer says, and I quote, so they announced Roman Reigns and Rowan, not Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan, which was the match listed as of a week ago, but when I actually asked, I was like, so is this a red herring? And it'll be Daniel Bryan next week? And it was like, the only person who knows is Vince, so nobody knows. End quote. WWE made Eric Rowan look very strong on SmackDown Live. Of all fucking people, Eric Rowan going out on a singles rogue run, and I'm hearing he's getting a different look. What's wrong with his look now? Of all people, Eric Rowan. If this doesn't involve Luke Harper in any way, I would be very disappointed. Seriously. Luke Harper's been wanting something to do. He could join this fray and get in on attacking Roman. I don't understand what's going on here. It's either Roman Reigns has a new foe in Eric Rowan, which is god-awful just by me uttering it, or WWE genuinely doesn't know what they got going on with this. They're really writing this week to week, which I assumed fucking back 3 weeks ago. They didn't know what was going on. They're writing this week to week. Literally, every Tuesday, they're writing this segment. Nothing is planned in the week. Nothing is thought of. Nothing is being bounced off of one another in the writing room. Nothing. They don't know. They don't know. Rowan and Reigns at the Clash of Champions pay-per-view. On what planet is that a pay-per-view match? Period. Clash of Champions, Extreme Rules, fucking Sunday Night Heat. It's not good enough for any of those matches. It's not even good if I do it in WWE 2K20, which, by the way, is coming out, and I hope to be a part of the launch for that. It's not even good enough for the video game. So what are we doing here? What are we doing here? WWE has left this so convoluted that I genuinely don't even give a shit anymore. And I mentioned this on Tuesday. Rowan beat up Reigns. Rowan slapped Bryan, and he chokeslammed Bryan. Rowan looked tall and strong in the end. He stood tall, I should say, and looked strong in the end. But we still have the variable. After Rowan, R's. Oh, too many R's. Rowan said that he was the one in the camera, the footage, pushing over the crate, right? He was the one who drove the car into Roman's rent-a-car. But where's the forklift? Does Vince even realize that you left this open-ended? If Rowan was there on camera pushing the crates, and he drove the vehicle, who drove the forklift to double team and attack Roman Reigns on that very first night this storyline got started? It's either WWE has someone in mind and that person is going to be a complete disappointment, or they completely forgot that that part of the story even exists and they're ending up with Rowan and Reigns at the pay-per-view only for this to end. And Daniel Bryan turns babyface and aligns himself with Roman Reigns. I don't see why that would even be a thought. Because the entire thing here was to get Roman to look good and continue building Daniel Bryan up as a villainous heel. Why on earth would you want Daniel Bryan to go babyface after everything that he's done so far in this heel role? I don't get it. You need top-level heels on these shows. Daniel Bryan is that top-level heel. You take him away, who do you have? Nobody. Absolutely nobody outside of Randy Orton. And Randy Orton, when he becomes the WWE Champion, I give that 2 months before I find that utterly boring. Daniel Bryan needs to be a heel. It can end up being that Rowan attacked Bryan, and it was a red herring. Bryan sacrificed himself to fool Roman Reigns. And Daniel Bryan's going to be revealed as the forklift driver. Then we'll get Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan inside Hell in a Cell. Which is the most simplest, most idiotic way of doing this thing. Fucking Hell in a Cell for idiots. That's what Vince McMahon is thinking. Guarantee you. That's the one thing on his mind. Red herring. We'll do Rowan now so we don't give Bryan and Reigns away at this show. And then we'll do Bryan and Reigns inside Hell in a Cell. That's what they're looking at. Either way you look at it, my interest has gone right out the window. Right out the window. My interest is still in Chicago. My interest is waiting for October 2nd on TNT because this shit is god-awful. WWE fucked up something that could have been so good. Look at what they did with Aleister Black and who attacked Aleister Black. Did any of you feign interest in that overall storyline? No. And when it was revealed as Johnny, It only fucking exacerbated everything, man. It made everything feel that much more epic because you knew Aleister Black wanted his fucking title back. You knew Johnny wanted the fucking title. Ciampa was in the middle. I have Goldie. Fuck you. Johnny's finally learning. He's channeling his inner Joker, his inner fucking demons to take out Aleister Black. It's great. What are they doing here? Raggy? Scooby Snack? You know? God awful. I'm getting out of here. Thank you guys so very much, man. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. We are an hour and 30. An hour and 30. Not bad. I didn't want to go too long. Too long, man. An hour and 30 is good. Any time over that, I feel like I'm just overstaying my welcome. That's the way I feel, but we're good here. Thank you guys so very much, man. Hope you enjoyed this. If you enjoyed what I brought here on Off the Script, if you laughed, if you shook your head in agreement with what I've been saying through the majority of this show, please hit that thumbs up, man. I would really appreciate it. It's Thursday night. Patreons are going to get this early. I am about 3 innings too late for the Braves Nationals, so I have to watch this critical series all weekend. 4-game series. Should be good. I will be drinking more cold beverages. I'm going to go watch the game. Thank you guys so very much for everything, man. Follow me on social media, at JD from NY206. That's on Twitter and Instagram. Go check out all my other videos on the channel. I'm going to leave you the links to my videos if you missed them in the annotation in the top right corner. I'm going to leave you the link to the Chris Van Vliet interview down below. Go and check it out and leave a positive comment. Leave a thumbs up on it and let Chris know that it was great having me on the channel. Harrys.com/script, audibletrial.com/offthescript, and I will see you guys right back here on part 2 of Off the Script. We got a lot to go over as well. More SmackDown news and notes, and whatever else has happened in the WWE, I'll be here to cover it, guys. Thank you so very much, and I will see you all right back here on Saturday morning for Off the Script. See you then.